Hey guys, it's John Moore with the Texas College Football Show. This is week 3 countdown. It's our third week. We're going to get into it right now. Let's look at it every week. Like I said, we're going to have a record of how we did and how our picks went. So far, I haven't veered off my preseason picks. This is our third week of the season. I did preseason picks for every school and what I thought their records would be. I have not veered away from that, although I did reserve the right, and I've mentioned this both weeks, that as the season progresses, I will myself make a pick during the week for each week that might veer away from what I had picked early in the season. Still going to bring up the preseason rankings and how I'm doing on that one, just because I'm going to show you where I was and how off I was or how on I was for each team. But this is the first week I'm actually going to veer away from what I had in the preseason rankings. There is a team I'm going to pick different than what I picked in the preseason rankings. I'm picking it different in this week, and we'll get to that when we get there. I am actually 10-2 right now. We were 10-2 this week and 22-4 overall. My 5-star pick was Texas State versus UTSA. I had that as a 7-point game. I had it 34-27. It was a 7-point game, but they each scored 9 more points than that. Texas State scored 43. UTSA scored 36. We'll get into the specifics of that a little bit later on, but wow, what a game. Saw a lot of highlights, tried to click over and watched a little bit of it, came in right in time to see that 43rd point scored by Texas State. They got the ball back, first play from scrimmage, they scored about an 80-yard touchdown on a good pass there. Geez, what a fun one. Let's get down to the countdown where we're already seeing some movement. Let's get to our number 13 team. Number 13 this week is Sam Houston, who is now 0-3. They played in 0 week, if you'll remember that. They've got a bye this week. They lost to Hawaii 37-20. They're now 0-3 overall. That was a hit for Texas College Football Show. Little interesting thing happened there. Hunter Watson was the starter the first 2 games. He did not get the start. Maybe Mature got the start, a kid from the Woodlands who was actually a commit to Wisconsin and ended up transferring down with Phil Longo, who took over the Sam Houston job. We did all that on the coaches preview show to begin the season. He went out in the fourth quarter. It wasn't disclosed why Watson didn't get the start. I don't know if there was an injury there or not, but it wasn't disclosed. In any case, Mature got hit in the fourth quarter, and who came in but Landon Locke, who's a freshman, also who was initially a Wisconsin commit who decommitted and ended up committing to Sam Houston, probably following Phil Longo, who was the offensive coordinator there. Also, the leading rusher was also Mature, telling you they're trying to get this offense going. He had 16 carries for 45 yards. And then Elijah Green had 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. He was the leading receiver. When you get to tackling, on the tackle, C.J. Brown had 8 tackles. So did C.J. Johnson. Chauncey Child had 7. Tackles for losses and sacks was Jamar Diaz and Anthony Edwards. So these guys, they give up 37 points. Phil Longo, he's trying to get this together. I had this at the beginning of the season. Now, I had them starting out 0-3. If you see there, I had them losing to Western Kentucky, UNLV, and Hawaii. Now, they're going to Texas this week. Their next game is in Texas in 2 weeks. That's not this week. They have a bye this week, like we saw a while ago. So I've got them going 0-4. We'll see what we're going to do after that. Let's see what New Mexico State has done. I might be changing some of that. I've got Sam Houston going 7-5. I might be hedging my bets on that. Against the preseason predictions, I am 3-0 there. And let's go to number 12 on the list. Or actually, number 12. Nope, that's number 11. Let's go back to number 12. There it is. Okay. Number 12, UTEP. They're up 1. They were number 13 last week. They jumped up after beating UT Martin 42-17. Overall, they are 1-1. They have not gotten to Conference USA play. This week, UTEP plays at Texas at 2:30 Central Time. The line, it's going to be on the SEC Network. They are picked to lose by 41.5. Texas is favored by 41.5, and the total of 51-50. I've got that one at 49-10 with Texas winning that. Texas handled up on last week playing against San Jose State. I think they're going to do it again this week. Malachi Nelson got the start again. He had 4 TDs this week. He was 14 for 26 for 278 yards. Deshaun Wilson had 8 carries for 117 yards and a touchdown. Kenny Odom was the leading receiver. He had 5 catches for 124 yards and 1 TD. Goins Jr. also had 105 yards and a TD. So it's good to see that for them in our preseason. I am 1-1 on this one. I had them beating Utah State, and they ended up losing that game, but they did beat UT Martin, and I had that as a win also. Don't have the next couple of wins for them as we get ready to kick into that one. Texas this week's going to be a tough one, I believe. And now let's go down. We just saw it a while ago. Let's go down to number 11. Number 11 is Rice, who jumped up 1. They were 12 last week. They do jump up 1 to number 11 because of the Sam Houston drop. With 0 wins and 3 losses, I went ahead and moved Sam Houston all the way down. Rice did lose this week. They lost to Houston 35-9. Overall, they are 1-1. They're 0-0 in AC play, American Conference play. This week, they play Prairie View A&M. They're hosting Prairie View A&M. It's at 6 p.m. Central on ESPN+. There is no line. We've talked about this before when there is no line on this game because, look, they're picked to win it pretty big. I've got them winning it 31-13, but it could be 51-6, depending if Rice gets going. Prairie View is an FCS school. They're not a FBS school or a G5 school. So we'll see what happens here on this one. I've got them winning this one. If you look at the Rice and what they did this week, Chase Jensen was 10 for 12 with 50 yards passing. Again, this isn't a big passing attack. They kind of run that veer offense. He had 1 interception. Quentin Jackson last week was the big rusher. He only had 52 yards this week, no touchdowns. Daylon Alexander had 55 yards on 10 carries. The only touchdown was Chase Jenkins. He had 1 touchdown rushing during that. Aaron Turner had 3 catches for 24 yards, and he was their leading receiver. On the tackle side, Ty Morris, once again, boy, he's just wearing them out. 15 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, all of that. Rice, again, is hit again. I've got them 1-1 because I did have them losing to Louisiana, which was a huge win. Louisiana was a big win. I don't care what anyone says. That was a big win. They did win that opening week, lost to Houston this week, so they're still 1-1. Let's go down to number 10. This is another big drop right here. Number 10, we're going to go to UTSA, who lost this week to Texas State, and what a game. Boy, it was a back-and-forth game. Big numbers put up there. They are 0-2 overall. We picked that one. TCFC did make a hit on that one. This week they're hosting Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word at 2:30 Central Time. It's on ESPN+. Another one without a betting line right now just because it's too unpredictable. I think UTSA will control this one. Incarnate Word, pretty good FCS school. I just think that this one's going to be I think this one is going to be UTA. I like UTSA. I think UTSA is good. They held their own with Texas State. They did well against A&M. They had some big numbers. Owen McCown was 23 for 43, 219 yards and 2 TDs. They had Robert Henry Jr. had some big games, 17 rushes for 159 yards and 2 TDs. Leading receiver was Devin McClellan, who was he had 83 yards. He averaged 16.6 yards per catch. And then on the tackling side of things on defense, Tyron Milton had 6 tackles. He had 1 tackle for loss. They didn't have any sacks. They had 1 sack. Kenny Ozawalu had one sack, but that was the leading tacklers. Jimmy Wyrick also had 6 tackles for solo. That's it for Texas State. Let's look at the beginning of the year. I'm on them, believe it or not. Although I think they're a good team, I think they're going to end up 7-5. I've got them losing the first 2 games and winning the next 2, and one of them is Incarnate Word, who I did pick them to win. So I'm keeping my streak alive here. I'm not veered off from what my preseason was on this one. Now let's go down to number 9. Number 9, we have North Texas. I'm getting my paperwork here. North Texas beat Western Michigan 33-30. I had that one, not bad on that one and what I picked. But I had them beating that one a little bit bigger than that on that win. Overall, they're 2-0. I hit on that one, but they got behind there. Western Michigan took off and got ahead of them. They had to come back on that one. Now, this is one right here where Washington State is coming to town. They're hosting them this Saturday. It's 2 p.m. Central Time. It's on ESPNU. UNT's favored to win this one, minus 5.5 points, minus 5.5 points. 59.5 is the over, 59.5 is the over-under prediction there. I predict Washington State will win this one. Personally, I think Washington State will win it 35-28. Washington State is also 2-0, scoring a lot of points. I know the offense for North Texas is what they're known for. They did get a new defensive coordinator, but I have this one as Washington State. I just don't know if North Texas hangs with them. It may not even be as close as I think it is. Now, I did have them losing to Washington State. I'm 2-0 so far on that. I haven't veered off of what I thought, but I did, that's where we're at. We're going to stick with it for right now. Let's go down to number 8. Number 8 is Houston, who has moved up. Houston has moved up. Houston was last week they beat Rice 35-9. They are 2-0 overall. This week they are hosting Colorado. It's at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. The line is Houston minus 4.5. They're picked to beat Deion Sanders and Colorado. The total is 43 and 43.5 on that one. My prediction on this one, I've got Houston winning this one 28-21. Let's look at the stats. Connor Wigman, again, I expected more from Connor. Got to be honest with you. 15 for 22 and 188 yards. He did have a TD. Dean Connors was pretty much the star of the game. He rushed for 132 yards and 2 TDs on 13 carries. Steven Johnson had one reception for 74 yards. That's the one big play that he had. So Connor hit him on a long one. But that's my that's the best stats on there. On defense, McCutcheon had 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Eddie Walls Jr. had a sack and 3 tackles for loss. They held Rice down. Rice is a pretty predictable offense, but not bad. Not bad. Look, they're continuing to win. They're 2-0. Let's look at, I've got them winning this week to go 3-0. That could move them up. I'm still 2-0 in what I had them going. I had them beating Colorado coming into this week. Connor Wigman's going to have to do more. Got to be honest with you. I think Connor Wigman's going to have to do more. Who's number 7? Staying where they were last week, number 7, Texas State. They beat UTSA 43-36. Now, look, for you guys that wonder sometimes, what's the difference between number 7 and number 6, who you have there? Do you think they could beat this team or that team? I don't. And we'll see who number 6 is in fact, it's the biggest loss, the biggest free fall of all of them is going to be this next one. But they beat UTSA 43-36. This week they are at Arizona State University. They play at 9:30 Central Time. It's on TNT and HBO Max. Arizona State's picked by 14.5 points and a total over-under of 59.5. I've got Arizona State winning this, but it's going to be closer. Last year, Texas State went out to Arizona State and played them close also. I think this one's going to be close. I think this is the bad time to run into Arizona State. After their loss this week, they ended up taking a loss. I think they're going to rebound this week, and Texas State may not just have enough. G.J. Kinney's doing a good job there. But let's look at what we did on prediction-wise for the season. I've got Eastern Michigan and UTSA wins like I had. I do have them losing to Arizona State University. We are 2-0 so far on this. And that one, I almost hedged on this one. With this loss at Arizona State, they really showed some flaws there without Scattaboo, where you just kind of wonder what they're going to be. Everyone loves Dillingham there, but I don't know. But I am going to end up thinking that just overall ASU their season's not over after one loss. I think that they can get back in this, and I just think Texas State isn't prepared for it. Biggest drop. This is the game I was at. Here we go. Number 6. They have gone from number 3 to number 6. The SMU Mustangs lost a heartbreaker to Baylor, 48-45. They are 1-1 overall. They're 0-0 in the ACC. This was one that I missed this week. This is one of the ones I missed. So I had them beating Baylor. This week they are playing Missouri State. They're going up to Missouri State. That's where the hospitality at this game was great. The SMU press box is amazing. I can't thank them enough for putting me up. It was just a great time, and I can't thank them enough for doing it. But they're going up to play Missouri State University, where my son goes to college. So my money and my son go to Missouri State. I know that I've got SMU to win this 45-13. Not going to lie. Going to be pulling for Missouri State to upset SMU just because I got money and a son going there. Don't think it's going to happen, though. Pretty much expecting this. I've got them winning at 45-13. Where are we at on the season with them? I am 1-1 with them. I did have them beating Baylor. I do have them beating Missouri State. So we are 1-1 on that one. So that was a big jump for a big loss for SMU there. And the reason they went down, they went head-to-head with another team, and that team jumps up from number 6 to number 5, Baylor University. After the loss to Auburn, I had them losing. I'm sorry. Let's go back up here. That's the record. Baylor beat SMU 48-45. We're going to go over the stats right now for both of those teams. Let me tell you something. Kevin Jennings was amazing for SMU. He was 16 for 22, 295 yards, 3 TDs. He had 1 interception. TJ Harden was the show for SMU. 115 yards, 3 TDs rushing. He broke a big long one there too. That was averaged about 6.1 yards per carry. Brinson was good too. 4 catches for 126 yards and 2 TDs. Leading tackler for them that's one of the problems is Niwakobia had 12 tackles, 7 and 1.5 for loss. He's a safety. When your safety's making a lot of tackles, that can be a problem. Hey, Sawyer Robinson was amazing. He didn't start out well. If you watch this game, I was there watching this game, and I'll tell you, watching the game, SMU seemed to control the entire game. In fact, they were up by 14 with 8 minutes left in this thing. You kind of thought it was over. We had made our way down to the field to catch SMU afterwards, where we thought we were actually going to be talking to the winning team. And Sawyer Robinson said no. He was 35 for 50, 440 yards. He had 4 TDs. Bryson Washington rushed for 115 yards and 2 TDs. Josh Cameron and Kobe Prentice each had 2 TD receptions. Cameron had 151 yards. He was the leading receiver. Keaton Thomas had 10 tackles. Thomas was all over the field. I'm not going to lie. Watching him all over the field, he had 1 tackle for loss for Baylor there. This week they host Samford. It's at 11 a.m. Central on ESPN+. There is no prediction here. I didn't know where to go with it. I think it's going to be a blowout. I put it 51-3. Samford's an FCS school. This is going to be a big one for sure. What a game to go to. Thank you to SMU for putting me up there. The press box was nice. It's as nice as a major league press box, to tell you the truth. The spread was good. All the notes, taking care of the media while they were there. It was just really nice. Ford Stadium's something else. Hadn't been there in years. Went to a high school game there years ago. Actually, Kenny Hill Jr. was playing for South Lake Carrollton the last time I was there in that stadium. They've just done it up right. What a great stadium. Press box is amazing. What they do for the media was amazing. But let's get to our top 4. We're down to number 4 now. Number 4 is TCU. They had a bye last week. They are 1-0, 0-0. TCU was impressive in that win over University of North Texas. They are hosting Abilene Christian University. This one's a cakewalk. 7 p.m. Central. It's on ESPN+. There is no line on it. I've got it 51-13. It's hard to pick these things when it's hard to pick what a blowout's going to be. It's probably going to be a blowout. Texas could have won their game, this week against San Jose State, probably about 50 points, but they kind of dumbed down the offense and just played it close to the vest. Ended up winning by about 30 points instead of 50 that they probably could have. But I don't know here. That I put it 51-13 just to make a guess. Quite honestly, on some of these, when there's no line, you don't know. They're obviously a better team than Abilene Christian. Josh Hoover is unbelievable. He may be my Heisman favorite. We'll see how he does this week. I really like Josh Hoover, but I've got them winning that one. To start the season, I had them going 2-0. It says they're actually not 2-0, guys. Sorry. They're 1-0 right now because they did have a bye. So they're going to win that one. So this one won't even change for next week on 2-0. But let's go to number 3. And who moved up to number 3 but Texas Tech University? It was hard to do. I could have easily put TCU over them because I still don't know. I want to see what Texas Tech does this week. They're playing Oregon State, who they should beat, quite honestly. But this is 2 weeks in a row that they have played just nobody, any team with a pulse. They won 62-14. They against Kent State. They are 2-0 over now. You know, that was a hit for me. They host Oregon State. It's at 2:30 p.m. Central on Fox. Tech is picked by 23.5 points in the 61.5 over under. I've got Tech winning this one 38-14. I do have the under going. We'll see what Oregon State does. Baron Morton was 18 for 26, 258 yards and 3 TDs. Will Hammond got a little time, so did Mitch Griffiths. Adam Hill was at 16 carries for 127 yards. Coy Eakin had 3 catches for 59 yards and a TD. Reggie Virgil had 5 for 50 and 2 TDs. They're distributing pretty easy. Again, they're not really playing any competition. Baron Morton is a good QB. I think he's a good QB. But again, he's not being tested really. Let's see this week. Oregon State is not a good team this year. So they may come into here and just get the doors blown off of them. But it will be a little more of a pulse for me since it is an FBS school. And actually, is Oregon State in the Power 5? I mean, with the Pac-12 out there, I don't know exactly where everyone is. In either case, you know, this is a better team. This is the best competition they've played. And let's see how they do on this one because, you know, we just don't know. Now let's go to the number 2 team. Well, let's look at Tech and where we are on them. I had them winning two games. They're 2-0, so obviously we're still where we're at. I got them beating Oregon State. You know, I've got them going 9-3. But I'm confident in where I am on it, but they're beating up dogs right now. They're just it's like beating up a junior high team right now. So I don't know the test of where they're going to be. Number 2 team, Texas A&M. They beat Utah State 44-22. Some struggles. I mean, I saw some struggles there, and some of them worked. I really liked what they did. They handled the game. Utah State was never in it. Overall, they're 2-0. It's a hit for me on this one. Okay, here's where I went off it, guys. Here's where I went off it. They are playing at Notre Dame. At the beginning of the year, I will show you what I've got. I've got them beating Notre Dame 28-24. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite. I did like what I saw from Notre Dame against the University of Miami. I liked some of the stuff I saw. Their freshman quarterback, drawing a blank, played well in that game. He did not lose the game for me. He didn't look as bad as Arch, who had a bad game. His first game against a very good opponent. In fact, the best defense they might face all year. But, you know, Notre Dame's quarterback held his own and played well. The problem is I just don't know. I almost picked Notre Dame and stuck with what my gut told me from the beginning of the year. But A&M seems to be on a mission this year. They've controlled every game. They still haven't hit on all cylinders, and that it wouldn't surprise me if they're not looking forward to Notre Dame, and that kind of had some of the woes they had. Now, some of the deficiencies for Notre Dame or for A&M or their run defense, teams can go between the tackles and get a few yards per carry there. You know, at Notre Dame, if they're getting some running game that sets up the pass, it could be a problem. But A&M's defense is better, but it's still not great. Secondary has some questions there. Haven't seen anything from Marcel Reed to be discouraged. He only threw for 220 yards this week. He was 19 for 28 and 3 TDs, but that's all it called for. He didn't have to throw it all over the place. He ended up running for 66 yards and a TD. Le'Veon Moss ran for 68 yards. Again, none of these backs who could be all SEC backs, to tell you the truth, have really rushed for 100 yards, but sometimes the game doesn't call for it. You know, that game was not as close as it seems. I know it's a 22-point game. I think it could have been much worse than that. Let's look at the overall where I had them. As you see, I'm going against what I picked. I'm 2-0 with them right now, but this week I had Notre Dame winning, and that being a win for Notre Dame and A&M taking the loss. I'm going against this. Now, I will mark this an X. If A&M does win, I'll have an X on there, and it'll show that I'm 2-1 on this, but that's okay. Remember, I reserve the right to hedge my bets on this, and I went the other way, and I think A&M's going to pull this one off. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to watch this one this week. It's a big game for them. What time is that one kicking off? This one's kicking off at 6:30. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't know if any of you Aggies are making that trip. This should be a fun one. I love giving you a lot of crud on this. I can't right now. I like what I'm seeing from the Aggies. Number one, again, Texas. Why do I have Texas number one with a 1-1 schedule, and A&M? Why don't they pass them? Because if A&M played Texas 10 times right now, my gut tells me with Texas defense, they would win 6 of those games, or they would get to 6 before A&M could get to 6. That puts me on a neutral field with those two playing each other. I just favor Texas right now. I still do. That could change. Look, I'm a Texas homer. My son goes to Texas. I'm a Texas fan. They beat San Jose State 38-7. Could have been 58-7. They really kind of dumbed down and didn't open up the offense. They just ran their playbook, their normal playbook, and that was enough. Missed some blocking assignments, put some of the other ones in. They just, they had 4 turnovers on defense. They basically controlled that game. San Jose State was sort of running for their life. It was definitely under control the entire game. And look at this one. You got to look at Arch. Is it a bounce back for Arch? It was. Arch had a big game. He was 19 for 30, 295 yards, 4 TDs. He rushed for a TD. Still had some things I didn't like. Had a few arm angles that looked funny a couple of times during there. Slow start again. He didn't hit those first passes to get going. But boy, when he started firing those passes, he was hitting his mark. He was putting them where he wanted to put them. But I still see growth to grow on this. I still see them getting better and seeing Arch getting better on offense. Again, Arch doesn't have to be a Heisman Trophy winner like the entire country thought he was going to be at the beginning of the year. He's just got to be a good quarterback, even a serviceable quarterback. I've said that over and over. With those running backs, with that receiving core, and the receiving core's got to be better, guys. They're still not getting open. It looks like he's found his person in Livingston, who, again, was 128 yards and 2 TDs. He hit injuries for a couple of TDs where everyone thought that tight end was going to be kind of his kind of the guy he feeds off of. And then C.J. Baxter had 64 yards. He was the leading rusher. Manning had 23 yards, with his long being that touchdown for 20 yards on his rushing TD. I've got them. They host UTEP this week. It's on the SEC Network. It's at 3:15 p.m. Central. The line is Texas minus 41.5, and it's a 51.5 total. I've got Texas beating this one 49-10. I think they're going to cover. Actually, I don't think they're going to cover. I don't think they're going to cover. I think it's going to be 49-10. I like Malachi Nelson. He's not going to have much. The defense is going to smother him, but I think at some point they'll put in the backups. Maybe he'll have a chance. They'll keep UTEP will keep their starters in, and at some point might be able to steal a few points. And maybe it's one of those deals where you have that. You script the first plays and they go down and score a touchdown early. And everybody, it's kind of what they did with San Jose State, scored early, and everybody thought, okay, well, here we go. And then they didn't do anything else once everyone woke up. This will probably happen this way too. But when you get some of those second team and third teamers in who are better and would start for UTEP in any situation, it still gives Malachi Nelson and that crew a little bit of an opportunity to maybe get some points there, some trash points at the end. I think that, I don't know that Arch is going to put up huge numbers. I just don't know that. I think that he doesn't have to. I think the playbook will be semi-vanilla again. They'll just depend on their offensive line to open holes, get this running game going, set up the play action. Arch will make a few plays. Once they jump up by 21 to 28 points, they're going to dumb it down. They're going to stay within it. They're not going to go crazy. They're not going to show their playbook. Kind of what A&M did last week, because the game was never really in any doubt once they jumped ahead by 3 scores. There just wasn't any doubt. Well, that's it for this week, guys. That brings us down to the end. We'll see how this one goes. It should be a fun week. My son ended up getting to go to this game. It was a lot of fun for him. Hit that subscribe button. See right down there below. Hit the socials. Follow these guys. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button. Next week, we're going to do a preview for the game of the week. I don't know when it's coming out. It's going to be Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. That's the game of the week. We'll have Drew Meyer on to talk about that. If you haven't already seen it, it might already be out. I don't know. But if not, it's coming soon. Guys, thanks. Until next time, see you at the gridiron.